despair in the ordinary world must either somehow be insensible to the anguish he offers himself.
And then feels the strange and high with almost the mortal sorrow.
Almost all are oppressed, or else he must be blind to the ways by which he might escape them. Chosen in our secluded spots to flee from the weariness of the world, frolicking in fastidious joy. Your only happy youths and light-hearted nymphs forever.
We have come with our harmony here, on a rare business to pay our respects to you who stay behind.
To honor this pleasant occasion, the making of
Good evening, everyone. And if you're glad to be here, well then let me say God bless you. Tonight, we're going to show you something really rather strange. Yes, it's a strange sort of incident that happened in the city of Florence in Italy. This will be the subject of our play. And this is, as you can very well see, is the set. Now in this production it represents Florence. But on another occasion, we might very well use the very same set to represent the city of Rome, Pisa, or any other city. And that is what we call the magic of the theater. It really is. Now, this doorway here, this represents the house of a scholar of law, a learned man. And this road here, we call the road of love. And they say that if you stumble along the road of love, you will never rise again. Then further along the play, you will be able to see what sort of a father confessor, clothed in a friar's habits, lives in that church up there. And here we have the home of a young man whose name is Callimaco. Callimaco has just returned from living for many, many years in the city of Paris. And he is generally considered by his neighbors to be a very fine fellow. And you see, there was this very clever young woman. And she was very greatly loved by this same young man. And because of that, she was the victim of a cruel and barbaric trick. It was very barbaric and very cruel. But it is my sincere wish all the same that you too could somehow be tricked in a similar fashion. So, we have before us a lover, a pedant, a corrupt friar, and in addition we have a scheming parasite, the young man's servant, the young woman, her mother, and a widow woman. These make up our evening's entertainment. And if this frivolous material seems unworthy of a writer and a man who would like to be taken seriously, who would like to be considered to be someone who might just possibly have something important to give to the world, you may say that he wrote this pitiful and silly little play simply to make his dull, unhappy days pass a bit more pleasantly. He has no other recourse, no choice, you see, because all other doors have been repeatedly slammed in his face. And the opportunity to show in more important types of works his more valuable talents has been consistently denied him, there being no respect paid to him and no reward offered for the years of dedication he has given to the world. The reward he expects this evening is that each one of you will sit in your little seats and sneer at his play. ripping to shreds in your minds every line and every scene. And of course, this is the most common thing in the world today. Everyone loves to criticize and to destroy. But unfortunately, the consequence of this tendency is that artistic activity happens to be dying out in our world today. And the end result of this is that our world is becoming ugly and debased. Because do you really think that the few people of talent who are alive today are going to spend their hours ripping their guts out, smashing their heads against the wall to produce works of art? Well, they certainly are not. Because they know very well that the work that they produce would immediately be torn to bits by gales of envious and ignorant vituperation. Or else, what is even worse, it would be instantly buried in a thick and sickening fog of total neglect. But if those who sit carping and criticizing think they have this author by the hair, if they think they can shut him up or frighten him or keep him in his place, well then let me tell them, let me warn them, that he too knows how to use words to destroy his fellow human beings. And indeed, this was a talent which he possessed before he had any others. And in the entire world, he is in awe of no one, even though he may act very polite and deferential, very, very respectful and submissive to those who are more important than he is. And even though he may crawl down and kiss the feet of those whose lovely clothes are more fashionable and expensive than his own. But let those who wish to criticize go right ahead and do so. Let us turn to our story. Time is getting on, so let's forget everything that I've said. Callimaco is coming out of his house, and with him is his servant Cyril. And Callimaco's first few lines will make all the background clear. So let's all pay attention to the play and expect no further comment from me tonight.
Here, Master. Cyril, I have to talk to you. We haven't spoken much recently, and I wanted to explain. You must have thought it odd the way we left Paris so suddenly. And I'm sure you thought I had something very urgent to do here in Florence. But here we are. We've been here a month, and I haven't done a thing. You must find it very puzzling.
Well, I do.
I know I've kept certain things to myself, but it's not that I don't trust you. It's just that, well, you don't know I don't tell anyone my business unless I want the whole world to know it. And I don't make any exceptions. Unless I'm forced to, but I'm going to need your help, so I'm ready to tell you the entire story.
Oh, sir, I'm your servant, and servants don't put questions to their masters. We're trying to understand what their masters do. If and when their masters decide to speak to them, then they must serve them faithfully, and this I have done and will continue to do.
I know it, but listen to my tale. I'll have to begin with my childhood in order to explain it. And I know that you've heard my childhood 1,000 times, but it's very important. So you'll have to hear about it again once more. You remember when I was 10 years old, and my parents, my mother and my father, they were dead. They were dead. And my tutors arranged to send me all the way from my home here in Florence to Paris, where I spent the next 20 years. I might have returned when I was 20 years old, but just at that moment, because of the damned expeditions of King Carlo VIII, war broke out suddenly all over Italy. Oh, when I learned that the province of my birth was hopelessly destroyed, I vowed to live forever in Paris and never think of coming home again.
As I remember,
Oh, and the years in Paris, they were so carefree and delightful.
they were really great.
I divided my time between pleasures and studies and my business affairs, and everyone I met just liked me so much. From the greatest lord to the most miserable beggar and slave. I was always so helpful and so pleasant, and I was always careful never to offend or cause trouble, but only to please.
It's so true, sir.
Fortune thought my days were too sunny and too pleasant, and so she sent a certain man to come into my life, one Camillo Calfucci.
Oh, sir.
Like all Florentines in Paris, he was often at my house. One day, a group of us expatriates were talking, and we began to argue about whether French girls were really more beautiful and attractive than the women of Italy. And the debate went on for quite a long time. And then Count Fuji suddenly exclaimed that even if all Italian women were hideous beasts, there was a relative of his that could win the prize for Italy entirely on her own.
Oh, sir!
The person he named was Madonna Lucrezia, a woman of Florence, wife of Lord Lissa Calfucci. Suddenly he began to talk about the beauty of her body and her face, and the intoxicating quality of her movements and gestures. Everyone there was reduced to silence, each one sitting and staring blankly at the space in front of him. I sat there too. The wars in Italy no longer seemed important. A desire to see this woman stood up violently in my heart. I decided to depart, made my plans, and I left. Upon reaching Florence, the most rare discovery greeted me. Why, the girl's beauty, in fact, was infinitely greater than Calfucci could convey in words. And now I find myself here. I'm so obsessed with the desire to have sexual relations with this woman that I'm weak, ill, dizzy. I don't know where I am.
Oh, sir, if you had told me about this when we were in Paris, maybe I'd known how to advise you, but now, I don't know what to say.
I didn't tell you all this because I want your advice. I had to express these feelings. Can't you see that I'm dying? I want you to begin to help me, to serve me, to do whatever it is that needs to be done.
Oh, sir, you know I'm more prepared already, but what help do you have in this matter?
Oh, God, I don't have any hope at all. Oh, master. The greatest obstacle is the girl's own nature. She has the most extraordinary nobility of character, and she's completely uninterested in flirtation, love, or sex. She has an extremely rich husband, and he submits himself entirely to her every slightest wish. And although he's really quite old, he still seems to have enough blood in his veins to function as a husband. And she sees no one else. She never goes out to soirees or occasions or pleasant afternoons with neighbors and friends.
But,
Cyril, there are two things in my favor, I think.
oh, really?
Yes, the first is the simplicity of Lord Nicia, her husband, the most futile and pathetic man in Florence. Not smart nor a scholar, if you've heard that phrase. The second is the desire that he and his wife have children. They've been married 6 years, she's never conceived, they're very rich, and they have no heir. The situation is making them both quite desperate. There's a third thing, in fact. The girl's mother, she really was quite a cheap person in her day, something of a whore. Money used to attract her, but now she's rich, and I don't really know how I ought to approach her, but she could be very helpful in some way, I think.
Oh, I see.
And there's another thing, that person at Niccolo, the one who's been coming over for so many meals the past few days. He lives by eating at other people's tables. He arranges things. He used to arrange marriages at one time. I've learned not long ago that Lord Nicia has recently taken him up. They formed some sort of close relationship. Well, anyway, I managed to make myself a friend of this person, this Ligurio. I've told him all about my passion, and he's promised to use all his many skills to help me.
Oh, sir, be sure this man doesn't attempt to betray you. These parasites are professional gourmets. Oh, sir, they can be utterly faithless.
Well, I know that, of course. But I promised him a great deal of money if our plans are success. And if not, well, he'll get a few more meals besides. I don't mind eating with Ligurio. I'd rather eat with him than eat by myself.
But what does he promise to do for you exactly?
He's promised to persuade Lord Nicia to go with his wife to a mineral bath resort this coming May.
But how will that help you? I don't really see it.
With a new environment, might work some changes in the girl's personality. I mean, a place like that, there's nothing to do but have a good time. Go to lots of parties, hang around all day. I can go there myself, spend a lot of money, organize all sorts of festivities, get to know her, get to know him. I don't know. How can I predict what might happen? My grandmother's aunt used to say, from things come things. And time goes on.
Well, why not? Hey, master?
Uriel has just left me this morning, in fact. He's promised to see Lord Nicia and come right back and let me know what's happening.
What? But there they are, over there.
All right, you go home now.
I can go with you.
Suggestion, my boy. Those baths. I I talked it over with my wife last night, but you know how she likes to think about things. I'm hoping we won't have to go after all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I hate to leave my little nest, you know. To have to take along a wife, a family, a household, dining utensils. It's not fun, my boy.
Yeah.
And do you know something else? I talked to some of those doctors last night. The first one said, well, I should go to San Filippo. And the next one said, oh, no, I should go to Prater. The next one said, oh, no, really, Villa is by far best. What idiots, really. These so-called doctors don't know what's nibbling at the end of their line, if you get my meaning.
Well, yes, I can see that the thought of a long journey, all that traveling, must be displeasing to a man of the city like yourself. I mean, it must really pain you to travel to places where you can't even see El Duomo, huh?
What, travel? Why, no, my friend. That's just where you're wrong. Why, when I was younger, I used to wander just everywhere. Why, if there was a fair in Prato, there I'd be. And there wasn't a castle in the city that I haven't visited. And I'll tell you something else. I've been to Pisa, and I've been to Livorno. So don't tell me that I don't like to travel.
Well, you must have seen the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
I saw the Leaning Tower of Livorno, that's for sure.
Oh, yes, of course. Hey, that's the one I meant, yeah. But tell me, did you also see the sea at Livorno?
Did I see the sea? Why, you know very well that I saw it, my friend.
Well, how much bigger was it than the Arno, would you say?
How bigger than the Arno? Let me see. Well, it certainly was 4 times as big.
Oh.
I mean, it really could have been 6 times bigger, as we say. Or it, well, really, about 7 times as big, as we say. And you know the most astonishing thing? I remember this most vividly. You just look out there, and all you can see is water.
Yes, now that's so true, isn't it? But you know, I'm really rather amazed. I mean, seeing as how you have urinated in banks of snow like me is the point of phrase, but you find it so taxing to travel to one of these nearby mineral bath resorts.
Ah, but you have a mouthful of milk, my boy. If you'll excuse an old expression, you don't seem to know much about life. Can't you see how different it is from a young man's wanderings when you have a family, a household, a domestic establishment that you have to somehow take apart and put back together in some distant place? No, but you're right. My desire to have children makes my life a torment. I'd do anything to have children. You talk to those doctors, though, for me, won't you? I'll go talk to my wife, and I'll meet you later.
Certainly, my lord. Certainly, that's just fine. You know, I'd be surprised if there's a stupider person in the world than this worthless man. And yet, look how fortune has favored him. I mean, he's disgustingly rich. His wife is ravishing, she's elegant, she's smart, she's clever enough to rule a kingdom, as a matter of fact. And instead, she's the wife of a fool. That's why I really hate that old proverb. God makes men and women in a heap and they sort themselves out into sweet little pairs. God, when I think of all the really good men that I've seen getting married to pigs, while intelligent women give themselves willingly to morons and clowns. Oh, all the same, I get such exquisite pleasure out of listening to the old guy talk. It's just so perfect. I really enjoy it.
What's happening to you? Tell me, please!
Oh, well, you know Lord Nicia, my friend. He's a pinched and petty little man. He's afraid to leave the city. But I inspired him a bit. He ended by saying that he'd do whatever I think best, so we certainly could get him to one of those resorts if you still like that plan. But you know, I'm no longer so certain that that plan best serves our interests.
But why?
I don't know, it's just a feeling I have. You see, all kinds of people come to these resorts. Suppose someone showed up there doing this strikingly delicious-looking girl seem just as exciting as she does to you. I mean, let's say someone with a lot more money, or some devastatingly irresistible charm, huh? I mean, I don't know, but there's always that danger in a place like that, and you wouldn't want to go to all that trouble just to benefit some other guy. You see what I mean?
Oh, God, I know that's absolutely right. But what can I do? I mean, what plan can I have? I mean, where can I turn? I mean, oh, God, don't you see? I've got to have a plan. I've got to do something. Even if it's something insane or dangerous or ruthless or evil, because I would much rather die than go on living like this. If I could sleep at night, if I could talk, if I could eat, if I could do anything at all, I could have more patience. I could wait for a better moment. There's no escape from here. There's no relief anywhere. And if I can't find immediately some land to hang on to, I will certainly die in convulsions and frenzy. When I realize this may be the moment of my death, I lose all fears and hesitations, and I'm ready to throw myself totally into the most bestial course of action. Bestial! Bestial! Oh, that's the greatest! I'm ready! I'm ready!
Hey! Whoa! Come on now! Can't you control that impetuosity, huh?
You can see very well that precisely in order to control it, I'm allowing my mind to range free over all these thoughts. In that way, as you can see, I'm not doing any harm. Well, I mean it. I've got to have some hope to chew on, even if it's a false hope. Just anything to take this pressure off my brain.
Oh, you're so right about that. Yeah. And I'm right here with you, and I'm going to do anything to help you out of your
Oh, I believe you. I mean, I know very well that people like you live by deceiving other people.
Hey.
That's your whole way of life. This I understand very well. But I don't think that will cause me any trouble in this case, because you're very well aware that I will become your enemy if I caught you trying to fool me. And then you lose the use of my very nice house. And you wouldn't get the money I promised you if our plan goes well.
No, hey, Calimacco, come on! There's no need to doubt me, Calimacco, really, because even if the situation should turn out in no way to have the financial benefit for me that I believe it will have, and certainly hope it will have, nevertheless, there'd still be a reason for you to trust me, you see, because, well, I feel like we're people of the same kind. The same blood, Calimacco. Yes, my blood flows together with yours, it really does. And my desire for you to achieve your chosen prize is truly even as great as your own could ever be, huh? But let's don't talk about this anymore. The professor has asked me to find him a doctor in order to determine what bath he ought to go to. And this presents us with a certain opportunity. But you must allow yourself to be guided by me. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. You must be that doctor. Now, you only have to say that you've studied and practiced exclusively in Paris. The old guy will certainly believe you if you manage to behave like an educated man and address him with a few words of Latin.
But what purpose would this serve?
It could serve, of course, to get the old fellow to go to whatever bath we like. But it could also serve a certain other purpose. I mean, it could set us off on an entirely different path, I think I discovered. One that's shorter, less difficult, and more likely to lead to our goal than the one we've been considering.
What are you saying?
Saying that if you're very bold and trust entirely in me, I could have our business accomplished by this time tomorrow.
My heart is beginning to beat again. I can feel myself breathing. How will you do it?
Now, I'll tell you all about it when we have a free moment. There's no time to talk now. We'll hardly be able to do the things that need to be done in the time we have, much less have one more long conversation, huh? Go home quickly and wait for me there. I'll go find the professor. When I bring him to you, just follow my prompting and you'll know what I want you to say.
I'll do it! I'll do it all, my friend, as you have filled me with the most marvelous feeling that the future will be bright. Oh, God, I feel hopeful! Oh, God! Oh, God!
sell me any bladders, as we say. When I buy a melon, I know how to squeeze the skin.
Right. By all means, test him out. I mean, listen to him speak. See how he presents himself. Examine him carefully.
Now, where does this fellow live, by the way?
Oh, this very same piazza in that doorway there. Who is it? Is Cal not at home?
Oh, yes, he is.
Well, why does he call him Mandrake?
Oh, he doesn't like these hollow formalities at all, my friend.
Who is it that wants me?
Bonadis Domine Magister.
Et vos bona domini doctor.
Well, what do you think?
Not bad. Really. Pretty good.
Great. And now, if you gentlemen want the pleasure of my company, you better speak in a language that I can understand. That Latin, you know. I mean, otherwise it'd be like two different little families lighting our fires side by side, if you see what I mean.
What good things bring you here, gentlemen?
Well, how can I put this, Doctor? Well, I'm looking for two things that another man might very well plead. In short, I want to cause trouble for myself and trouble for the world. I don't have any children, Doctor, and I want to have them. So in order to get myself that special kind of trouble, I've come to bother you.
Oh, it could never be a bother to bring happiness, sir, to you, a man of real worth like yourself. I could not have exhausted myself studying for years in Paris if it were not so that I wouldn't someday serve people just exactly like you.
Well, it's very kind of you to say this, Doctor, and believe me, if you ever found yourself in need of any legal assistance, why, I'd be more than happy to help you out. But now, let us turn our thoughts to Rem Nostrum. Our business, you see.
Yeah, right.
Have you considered which bath would be the best for preparing my wife for successful impregnation? I know that my Julio here has told you of the case.
Oh, yes, he's told me a great deal, but I'm to satisfy your desire, I must first discover the cause of sterility in your wife. For as you must know, there are many possible causes of sterility. Causes sterilitatis sunt. Aut in semine, aut in matrice, aut in spermentae seminaris, aut in virgo, aut in causa extrinsica. Or, the causes of sterility may be found in the uterus, in the semen, in the testicles, in the shaft of the penis, or in some extrinsic cause.
That's the most extraordinary man I've ever met.
Aside from these causes, Professor, the failure of the wife to be fertilized can also be caused by the impotence of the husband. Or, of course, when this is the case, there can be no cure for sterility.
Can you imagine me impotent? Oh no, you'll make me laugh, Doctor. I'm like a rod of iron. Charged and pulsating with blood. I'm in my springtime, Doctor.
Well, if this is not the cause, you can be very optimistic that we will find some remedy.
You mean there might be a remedy other than the baths? Because you see, I don't relish the difficulties of going to the baths, and my wife would as well leave Florence most unwillingly.
Yes, of course there's another remedy. I'll answer your question myself, since I'm not much too careful and cautious. Well, didn't you tell me you're not being certain potions that will infallibly cause pregnancy to occur?
Well, yes, of course. But I don't usually tell this to people. I don't know that. They might think I was some sort of a charlatan or a fraud.
Oh, Doctor, with me, you can put away these fears entirely. Entirely. I admire you, Doctor. I admire you so enormously that there isn't a thing I wouldn't believe from you, or a thing I wouldn't undertake to do myself under your supervision.
Well, I believe you find it necessary to examine the patient's urine.
Urine?
Oh, well, that's the first step, of course.
Of course, well, call Cyril so he can go with the gentleman to his house and obtain the sample. And bring it right back here. We'll wait for it.
Cyril, go with this gentleman. And, Professor, if you could spare a bit more time, perhaps it would be wise for you to return yourself so we can make further plans.
If I could spend a bit more time. Good Lord, I'll be back in one moment. I swear it. Doctor, I have more more faith in you than those little Hungarians have in their swords. Good night. That master of yours is an incredible, remarkable man. A marvelous man.
Ah, he certainly is.
I'm sure that King of France must know him and admire him.
Oh, he admires him deeply.
I suppose that's why he so willingly decides to remain there in France.
Oh, yes, that is the reason,
Yeah, he does well to remain there. The people in this city are pieces of shit, if I may say so. They can't respect a man of real ability. If your master had chosen to remain here, we wouldn't have found a soul who could talk to him. I know what I'm talking about. It's taken me years and years of straining and sweating in the library to come up with a few little turds of knowledge, my friend, if I may use a frank expression. And if I'd had to earn my living in this city with the knowledge I've amassed over the years and years, well, I'd be freezing to death in the cold, I can tell you.
But don't you make at least 100 ducats a year?
I don't make 100 guineas. I don't make 100 of those filthy little tokens. Let me tell you something, my friend. If you don't have the right connections to the people in power in this city, as a lawyer, there isn't a dog who bark in your face. In fact, it doesn't bother me. I don't need money. I don't need fights. It's just that, all the same, I wouldn't want anyone to know that I'd said these things. Do you follow me, boy? Those bastards that love to make me pay some special extra tax or cook up another new foil on my ass to make me sweat, as you say.
Well, you don't have to worry about me, sir.
This is my house. You just wait right here. This won't take long.
Whatever you like, sir. See, I'm an uneducated man myself. He's an educated man. And the people in my class are supposed to be dumber than the people in his class. Well, if the educated class were made of people like him, do you imagine how dumb we'd be? Why, I'd be putting my dough into stone-cold ovens and wondering why it's not baking into bread. Obviously, the people in the area, that madman, my master, are leading his poor fool into some lonely corner where they'll perpetrate some shameful mischief on him. Well, I'm sure I'd find it amusing if only I knew the story would never get out, because if the story does get out, I'd be worried about my life and my master's life and all of his possessions.
I've done everything. Everything your way. I'm just asking you to do just this one thing my way. Just one thing. One thing. If I'd known I wasn't going to have any children, I'd have a peasant girl for my wife instead of you. Instead of just come over here and take this. Agony I had to go through just to get that bitch to give me a sample of her urine. And the beautiful thing is, it isn't as if she doesn't worry about not having children. She worries about it more than I do. It's just that when I wanted to do something, anything, well, there's really a story to tell. Really, some story.
Oh, sir, be patient. One knows that a woman will usually do what one wants her to do. If one can only manage somehow to put the matter in the right way.
The right way, huh? I'm sick of that bitch. Get up, get it? Now please hurry and tell your master and like Godio that I'm here.
Okay, now remember, the professor's going to be easy this way. Trouble won't be to persuade his wife. But even with her, there are certain techniques. Huh?
Well, you have the urine.
Cyril has it right there in his little hand.
Over there. This urine shows a certain weakness of the kidneys.
My goodness, it does look a little cloudy now, doesn't it, gentlemen? And she only just passed it a moment ago.
Oh, don't be too surprised, Professor. After all, I'm Julius, Johannes sempre, Majoris Glossate et Albedinus, Manoris Pulcritudis Quambiorum, Histus Atamentica Terra est ex Unquamioria. For the The urine of women is always much less attractive than the urine of men. And lighter, the cause of this may be the width of the female canals on the one hand, and on the other, the mixture of fluids in these same canals as it exits through the lips of the genitals with the urine.
By the sacred vagina of St. Pucci. This man grows more refined and brilliant as we hold him in our hands. Look at how well he reasons about these things.
I'm concerned, Professor, that your wife does not have a suitable covering on top of her at night. And for this reason, Professor, cloudy urine.
Oh, no, she always has at least one good quilt on top of her, but, you know, she stays on her knees for 4 hours saying her prayers every night before coming to bed. She's so silly, she's careless about the cold.
Well, in any case, Professor, here is the situation. Either you have faith in me or not. Either I'm going to give you an infallible remedy for your problem, or I'm not. But if you do decide to take my remedy, and if 1 year from today your wife is not nested with a child in her arms, I will pay you 2,000 ducats.
Well, then tell me your remedy, Doctor, as I believe in you more than I believe in my confessor.
Fine. Then you must understand one thing, that there is no more certain way to cause a woman to become pregnant than to give her a potion made from the root of the Mandrake. Why, this is something I've tested again and again on countless occasions, and have always found it to be true. And if it were not true, then the Queen of France would be sterile today, along with many other great princesses of that land.
Oh, but is this possible?
It is, Professor, just exactly as I have said, and fortune apparently loved you so well that I was able to bring with me from France all the ingredients necessary for this potion, and you may have this potent beverage at your earliest convenience.
When should I ask my wife to take the potion, Doctor?
Tonight, the moon is well disposed and the time could not be more appropriate.
All right, this won't be a problem. Prepare the potion. I'll make my wife drink it.
Fine. There is one thing I must mention. It is true that the first person to have intercourse with a woman after she's drunk the potion will die within 8 days, and there's nothing in the world that can save her.
Bloody shit. Is this the vinegar in your sugary little drink? Well, I won't have any, thank you. You're not going to hang me with that rope, my friends. Oh, you really destroyed me. I'm so upset.
Get a hold of yourself. There's a solution to this problem.
Oh, really? What is it?
Yes, the solution is for you to cause a man whom you have chosen to have intercourse with your wife immediately after she's drunk the potion. Staying with her for 1 night. In this way, he'll absorb all the infection from the Mandrake. Well, in the morning after he leaves, well, you can talk to yourself without the slightest concern.
Well, I don't want to use that solution, my friend.
Ah,
Yes, I don't want to make my wife into a prostitute. And I don't want to be the cause of my own betrayal, if you get my meaning.
oh, really, Professor? You don't seem to be the sensible man I originally took you to be. You mean to tell me that you hesitate to do a thing that the King of France and many of the greatest nobles of that state have not hesitated to do?
But who do you want me to get to carry out this madness, huh? I mean, if I tell the man, he won't want to do it. And if I don't tell him, I think I'd be leading him to his death by means of a trick. And I think I'd have a legal problem there. Now, don't you, Doctor? No, I don't think I want that sort of problem. Not at all, my friend.
Listen to me, Professor. If this is all that bothers you, leave the matter in my hands. I'll take care of it myself.
What would you do, sir?
I'll tell you. This evening, after supper, I'll give you the potion. You give it to your wife and put her into bed as soon as possible. That should be around 10 o'clock. And then we'll all disguise ourselves. You and Ciro and Niccolo and I. And then we'll go down to the old market and the new market. And we'll look at every shadowy corner and walk down every tiny little lane. And the first young moron we meet, wandering around in some shadowy gutter, we'll gag him and knock him on the head with some small pond or club. Take him to your house, put him in your bed, tell him what to do, and
to it since maybe king, princes, and lords have used this same method. It's of the utmost importance that this matter remain absolutely secret for legal reasons. Legal reasons.
Well, who do you think would mention it?
And there's another problem, my friend, and it's a serious one.
Well, I'm sure you're right.
And it's the problem of getting my wife to go along with this plan, which I'm sure she'll never in the least be disposed to do.
Well, okay, but I would hate to be married if I couldn't compel my wife to do a thing that I was disposed to have her do.
I believe I've thought of a solution to this problem.
What?
Well, we can arrange the matter through the friar or confessor.
Oh, yeah, and who will arrange to confess for you?
I certainly will, and so will you, and so will a little money. Along with our own undoubted shrewdness and the well-known shrewdness of all confessors.
But I don't think under my recommendation my wife would even be willing to talk to her confessor.
Oh, and there's also a solution for this.
Well, what is it?
Well, she could at least be brought to talk to her mother.
Oh, yeah, she trusts her mother.
And I'm sure her mother will be of our opinion because, well, she's an old friend of mine. Dear Madame Sostrata. Doctor, I'll see you here at 7.
No, wait, don't leave me, please.
See you have drunk tonight, Doctor.
What do you want me to do right now?
Go for a walk. Go visit that cathedral, a rocky old fortress down by the lake. I mean, really, this is Florence, Doctor, one of the world's great cities.
Oh, wait, please, don't leave me. Can't you see that I'm dying? No.
How happy would anyone be if he could see this person who's born a fool and believes anything, blind to reality. Opportunities don't entice him. There is a torment when he escapes these scenes of anxiety and pain. Oh, man, long to have children and to be his home, see what really that horses fly. Oh, that he has lost his darkness. Only has fixed all his desire. Only has fixed all his desire.
They say that clever people can choose the better of bad alternatives. Isn't that right? And if you want to have children and you don't have a means that's better than this one, well, you'd better choose this one, my boy. That is to say, if it's no trouble to your conscience, son.
That's right, Mother.
You better go have a talk with your daughter then, Madonna, while Lord Nisia and I go find the friar rather typically and tell him our little story.
Go, that road over there is the road to the church. I'll take the road to your house, son, and somehow convince my girl to talk to her confessor.
Very good. That's just fine. Well, now, my lord, I think you better give me 25 ducats. That is, if you can spare it. You see, sometimes it's best in these situations, dealing with religious folk, I mean, to spend a little money first and become a friend of the person right away. And then give him the hope of something better.
All right, good. Go ahead and take it. It doesn't bother me a bit. I'll make it up somewhere else, my friend.
You see, these monks, these friars, they're so extremely sophisticated, very subtle and deep in their dealings. And you can see why they would be, because, well, they know all our sins, as well as their own. What I'm trying to tell you is that, well, if you're not very familiar with them, you just can't get anything out of them. In fact, they'll destroy you. So I wouldn't want you to make any mistakes or unintentionally harm our interest in our conversation with the friar. Because someone like you. I mean, someone like you who spends all his time in the library. I mean, I know you have a marvelous knowledge of literature and books, but, well, you might not be able to talk about the ordinary things of the workaday world. The things he might say that really do fail.
But what would you like me to do, my friend?
Well, how long has it been since you last had the front?
Ah, it's been 10 years at least.
Oh, good. That's very good. Now, I'm going to tell him you're deaf these days. Don't speak or respond in any way unless we talk very loudly.
I gotcha.
Oh, and by the way, don't be too upset if I have to say certain things that would seem at the outside to be, well, unhelpful in relation to what we're trying to accomplish. It will all come out to our purpose in the end.
All right, Polly, I'll do it, my friend.
Ah, I see the friar now, conversing with that woman in the church. Let's wait over here till he leaves.
If you would like to confess, Madonna, I'm ready to listen.
No, not today. People are waiting for me at home. It's enough for me just to unburden myself a bit like this. Just standing right here. Well, did you say those masses of Our Lady?
Why, yes, I certainly did.
Oh, well, good. Then take this money and every Monday for 2 months say the Mass of the Dead for my poor husband. Although it was coarse and rough. Oh, a swine, really. He thrilled me as a man. Oh, the flesh is so powerful. Oh, I can't help feeling something for him even now when I think of him. Would you believe it? Oh, do you think he's in purgatory now, truly, Father?
Without a doubt.
Well, I'm still not sure of it. Oh, you know what he did to me a few times. Oh, Father, how often I came to talk to you about him, to complain. Oh, I avoided him whenever I could. But he never got tired. Oh, he just kept after me. Oh, Father. Oh, Lord.
My daughter, do not worry. God's mercy is great. If man doesn't lack the will to repent, he will never lack the opportunity.
Do you think the Turks will arrive in Italy this year, Father?
If you don't say your prayers, I'm afraid so, yes.
Oh, no! Oh, God, help us! God, help us! Oh, I have such terrible fears of being impaled by a Turk. Oh, that woman in the church over there has some linen of mine. I'd better go see about it. Have a good night, Father.
Yes, go in good health. Yes, you see, women are much more favorably disposed towards charity than men. They give much more freely. But it can be a kind of torture talking with. Sometimes they're so boring, even almost sickening. If you drive them away, you can save yourself a lot of grueling conversation, but you lose a lot of money. If you encourage their visits, you find yourself exhausted and depressed. But it's very rewarding. Well, they always say, no honey without flies, an old saying. But what are you up to, good gentlemen? Do I not recognize the distinguished Lord Lissa?
Speak loudly. He's grown quite deaf and can't hear a thing anymore.
It's so pleasant to see you both here, good sirs.
Louder.
To see you here!
Mind you, Father.
Yes, but what are you fine gentlemen up to these days, eh?
Everything's fine.
Perhaps you better just address your remarks to me, Father. I mean, in order to make him understand, we'd have to set the entire piazza resounding with your voice, no?
Well, what do you want of me, boys?
Well, this distinguished Professor Lissa here, and another good man whom you'll hear about in a moment, have a few hundred ducats to spend on charity.
Bloody shit. I can't even.
Pay no attention to the things he says, Father. I mean, after all, he is deaf, and sometimes he thinks he hears things we right? But we all know that this is inappropriate.
Yes, well, just go on talking and we'll let him say what he likes.
Okay. Well, I have part of the money here with me now, and these gentlemen would like for you to distribute it, Father.
Well, fine.
But it happens to be necessary before the alms can be distributed that you give us a little help in an odd situation that's come up for this gentleman. And it turns out, stranger, that you're the only person who can help us. And really, it's a situation in which the entire honor of the gentleman's house is at stake.
Oh, really? Well, what is this situation actually?
I'm not sure that you know Camillo Calfucci, the nephew of this gentleman.
Yes, I know.
Well, Calfucci had to go to France about a year ago in connection with some business ventures he had there, and not having a wife, she had died, unfortunately. He left a rather young daughter in the care of a convent whose name there's really no need to mention right now.
And the consequence of this?
Oh, well, the consequence, unfortunately, whether we should blame the negligence of the nuns or the childish brain of the poor girl herself, well, the consequence is that she finds herself 4 months pregnant, Father. With the result that the situation isn't very skillfully handled. Well, the professor here, the nuns, the girl, and Camillo will all be subject to the most terrible disgrace. And really, the professor considers the danger of the disgrace to be so grave a matter that he's vowed if the case is laid successfully, the rest will give 300 ducats for the love of God.
That's incredible nonsense.
It'll give the money right into your hands! And really, you and the abbess are the only two people who can.
What would you want me to do?
Oh, it's so simple. All you have to do is persuade the abbess to give the child a potion that will cause her to miscarry.
This is really something to think about.
Oh, what do you mean? Something to think about? Hey, come on, Father. Don't you see all the good things that could come out of this? I mean, you'd be preserving the honor of this convent, and also this little girl and all her relatives. And really, you'd be giving her daughter back to her father, now wouldn't you? And I know you'd be bringing great relief of mind to this distinguished gentleman here and so many members of his family. And you could help an awful lot of people with those 300 ducats, And besides, you wouldn't be harming anyone by doing this little thing for us. No, except a piece of meat, not yet born, without the ability to feel sensations that might very easily be aborted in any event in any number of possible ways, no? And as far as the moral implications of the matter are concerned, well, I've always thought, pardon me if I'm wrong, that goodness is whatever is helpful to the most people, pleases the most people the most. Don't you agree with me, Father?
Well, certainly, yes. It must be done in God's name. Let it be done. For God's sake and for charity's sake, may everything be done. It shall be accomplished just as you wish. Tell me the name of the convent, give me the potion, and if you think it's right, you can give me a portion of the money right away so that I can begin to do a few worthy things.
Well, now you're behaving like the sort of monk I believe you to be. Take this part of the money. The convent is, but wait a moment, that woman over there in the church, I think she's beckoning to me. I better go see what she wants. I'll just be a moment. Oh, please, don't leave, Professor Nistia, Father. I'll be right back. I just need to speak to this person.
How old is this poor child we've been talking about?
It's really incredible.
I say, how old is that poor child?
May God curse and ruin him?
But why?
Because he deserves it.
Obviously, I have fallen into a dangerous swamp. Yes, it's definitely slippery and creepy. Handicapped people. A deaf person. A mad person. The mad ones run off and the deaf one can't understand what I'm saying. Well, why not? Unless this is counterfeit money, and it's not, I can still come out of this healthy, though dealing with the sick.
Hey, Father, I've got the most wonderful news!
Really?
This woman whom I've just spoken to in the church, she just told me the child miscarried all by herself. Isn't that great?
Well, my. These alms will go into the municipal treasury.
But what are you saying?
I was saying that now you have more reason than ever to give these alms to the poor.
Oh, I see. Of course, the alms will be given whenever you like, Father. But you know, it's still necessary for you to do a certain other thing for this gentleman here, actually.
A certain...
Yes, something much less alarming, much less likely to incur blame or scandal, and yet something equally helpful to us. And I think you'd find it even more helpful to you.
Oh. Do tell me. You see, I really feel allied with you now, and I feel really that there's such an intimacy that's grown up between us that there really isn't anything I wouldn't do already.
Yes, but you know, I just like to go into the church and just discuss this between the two of us. Our Lord Nistia won't mind waiting for us here. I'll be back in a moment.
I can't wait for you to return. As the wounded toad said to the plow that left him bleeding. listening to these ravings, these absurdities. We came here to tell the prior one thing, and he told him. And then they wanted me to pretend to be dead. When I ought to smother my ears the way Ugari the Dane and his horse did when they were trying to shield themselves from the cries of the braviari, who was actually in league with demons. The insanities, the ravens, and to God knows what purpose. I've lost 25 nuggets already, and they haven't yet said a word about the problem. They've left me waiting here, suspended in the air like one of those little limp rolls that are stuck on ugly long pins. Here they come again, and they're going to be in very bad trouble if they haven't yet discussed the problem. I mean,
Praise for the ladies to come and see me. I know what to do. And if my authority has any weight, the coupling we hope for will be accomplished this evening.
Lord Nicia, Brother Timothy is ready now to do all that is necessary. I'm just going to step over and alert Madonna Sostrata so she can bring your wife right over here directly. Then I'll come back and wait for you inside the church.
you rejuvenate me more than I can say. Now, will the child be male?
A male child.
I'm weeping with tenderness and gratitude.
You may go into the church, and I'll wait right here for the lady. But you must stand way over there, so that they won't be able to see you. And then when they left, I'll tell you everything they said. People are being manipulated here. People are being shamelessly used. But it's strange, I can't tell who is using whom. Obviously, that villain Mercurio told me that first story only to test my reaction. Once I'd agreed to help him in that case, which was imaginary, of course. He knew that he could easily obtain my consent in this one, which is real. If I had refused my help in the imaginary case, he would never have mentioned the real one. Because they didn't want to disclose their design unless they had to, whereas it cost them nothing to tell me a made-up story which could never have gotten them into trouble. It's true. I was fooled by this device. But the trick redounds to my benefit. Lord Lissa and Callimaco are both very rich. And I stand to gain a great deal for both of them, and for their very different reasons. They are both going to allow me to do so. And best of all, it's highly unlikely that the story will ever become known, because it's just as important for them to keep it quiet as it is for me. Well, whatever happens, I won't regret it. One thing is certain, I don't think it's going to be easy to accomplish the matter because the girl is actually such a good person. But I'm going to approach her precisely through a good one. And when you get right down to it, no woman is ever really intelligent. They can all be fooled. Of course, if a woman speaks nicely, knows how to string a few sentences together, everyone praises her intelligence. But that's just like praising the intelligence of a little pig who's been taught to play a tune on one of those cute little horns. I mean, well, pig that can do that is an intelligent pig. There she is. And that's her mother, too. A real animal, if ever there was one. She should prove helpful, I think, in convincing her daughter to submit to my opinion and will.
My dear little girl, I know you believe me when I tell you that I value your welfare and your honor as much as anyone could in this world, and that I would never advise you to do something that wasn't in your very best interest. I've told you, and I'll tell you again, that if Brother Timothy says that such a thing should not be a burden to your conscience, then you may do it without brooding about it any longer.
I have always
you might someday lead us both into some sort of terrible error. And for that very reason, whenever he has spoken to me on the subject of children, I have listened with apprehension and even suspicion. But of all the things that have been attempted in order to end our childless condition, this to me seems to be surely the most strange. To submit my body to an act of vile humiliation, which in its turn will be the cause of another person's death.
Well, there are so many things that I don't know how to tell you, my darling, but please talk to the prior and see what he says and do as he advises, as we advise, as everyone who loves you advises.
I'm sweating from emotion and from passion.
Ladies, you are very welcome. And I know what you have come to ask me about, as Wadnesia has told me all the details. And in fact, I've been poring over my books for more than 2 hours doing research on the question. And after scrutinizing the literature very carefully, I found many things which both in general and in detail accord remarkably well with the very course of action which we are considering.
Are you speaking seriously, Father? Or perhaps you're joking?
Madonna Lucrezia, when I joke about matters such as these, don't you know me better than that?
Father, I do. But this thing seems to me to be the strangest that ever was heard of.
Ah, Madonna, I do believe you, but I don't want to hear you talking in this way anymore, because I want you to listen to me. My child, there are things in the world which we see first at a distance, and we don't know very much about them, and we think they must be very strange indeed. Strange, unnatural, maybe even vile, sickening, demonic, evil. But then we approach a bit closer to these very same things. We get to know more about them, and why, suddenly they no longer seem so strange, and we realize that they are really quite natural, quite normal, quite familiar, quite human, and even quite ordinary. And so we say about these things that they frighten us all out of proportion to the danger that lies within them. And this thing that we are discussing is one of these things.
May God so will it.
Yes. But let me tell you some of the thoughts that occurred to me during those hours I spent in my library. My child, you see, in matters of conscience and ethics, there is one principle whose logic you must always and invariably follow. This is the principle that when in some given circumstance an uncertain evil must be balanced against a certain good, you must never forego that good out of fear of that evil. Now here in this case we have a certain good, namely that you will become pregnant, that you will obtain a soul for God's blessed heart. The uncertain evil is that the man who lies with you after you take the potion may possibly die. Because it has been found that there are some who don't die, but because the outcome is doubtful, it would be unwise for Lord Lissa to run that risk. As to the act itself, the possibility that the act itself might be sinful. This is the children's fairy. As it is the will that sins and not the body. And the reason for sinning would be the displeasing of your husband. But in this case, you will actually be pleasing. Or on the other hand, the pleasure that you yourself might take in the act. But in this case, it will cause you only displeasure. Finally, apart from these considerations, you must never forget that the purpose, the ultimate end of the possible action, is the chief thing to be considered in all moral questions of any kind at all. Your purpose here is to fill a seat in paradise and content your husband. And it is that good purpose which you must realize to be of overriding importance in this particular case. And indeed, the Bible tells us that the daughters of Lot, believing themselves to be the only women left in the world, actually used their father for sexual intercourse. But because their purpose was good, they did not sin.
What are you trying to persuade me to do?
Let yourself be persuaded, my darling. Haven't you seen the woman who has no children, has no home in the world? When her husband dies, she is left alone, abandoned
of obeying your husband with deference in this matter, as there is in eating meat on a Wednesday in the season of Lent, which is a sin that can be washed away with a few drops of holy water.
Where are you leading me, Father?
I'm leading you to things for which you will always have cause to offer prayers to God for the benefit of my soul. And I can only say this, you may not be happy about this today, but that you will be happy about it a year from today.
She will do it, Father. She will do the thing that you want her to do. I will tuck her into her little bed tonight myself. Yes, I will! What are you afraid of, my dear little mucus nose? There are so many women in this city who would raise their hands to the sky in thanks to God if only they could be given a chance such as yours.
Please. I'll do that. Oh, well, I don't believe I will ever see tomorrow's morning.
Do not worry, my daughter. I will pray to God for you. I will say the prayer of the angel Raphael, that he will guide you as he guided Tobias when Tobias trod on trembling foot into the doomed bedchamber of Sarah, holding in his hand the great fish's entrails. So, prepare yourself for this mystery as it is already evening.
Be well, Father.
May God help me. May the Blessed Virgin Mary, Mother of God, save me and protect me from sin and death.
Mercurial, come out!
Well, how did it go?
Very well, very well. They're on the way home now to get everything ready and I think all will go smoothly.
Is this really true?
Say, that's wonderful. Are you cured of your deafness?
Saint Clement has had mercy on my friend.
Ah, you should put up the votive image of your ear in my church, my lord, on St. Clement.
I'm the happiest man in the entire world.
Yes, I believe it.
But go now, brother. Go to your prayers.
friend Gregorio again. He said 7 o'clock, and now it's 8. Oh, God, I'm like a little boat floating about the sea. Sometimes I try to get a hold of myself, and I say to myself, what are you doing? Are you insane? When you finally get here, what will it all come to? At that very instant, you realize your mistake and repent of all the struggles and torment you've endured for the sake of that pitiful moment. Don't you realize how little good is actually found in a thing compared to what you think you'll find? Good God. And I say, are you really such a coward? Can't you look into the face of your fate? Can't you fight for what you want? Then I fortify my heart and my morale and shore up my strength for battle. No, but I don't remain strong for very long. Soon I'm overwhelmed by an imposing desire to make love to that unspeakably beautiful woman. Just once. And then I'm overwhelmed. And my brain is spinning dizzily inside of my head at an incredible speed. Now, at least by time Gregorio, I can express his emotions to someone.
Where in the world can he be? The market, the piazza, the bench of the Spini, the gallery of the Tornaquinci. Now I'm back in his house. He must be wandering past. Oh well, people in love have quicksilver under their heels and just can't stop moving.
Gregorio! What's the news?
Good news.
Good?
Yes.
You mean you'll do it? The fire did what he was supposed to?
He did it.
Oh, the holy fire on Gregorio. I'll always implore God on my knees to pray for the success of this monk's life.
Yeah, the friar may need something more than your prayer.
Well, I know it.
Well, I mean,
Well, how much have you promised him?
300 ducats.
Oh, that's not so bad. And did you talk to the mother, too?
Oh, we certainly did. And when she learned that her daughter could have one night of wonderful, innocent joy without the danger of sin, she couldn't have been more eager to help us.
Oh, how nice it all is. Dear God, what merit of mine do I deserve such success as these?
Do you have the potion ready?
Yes, I have.
What are you planning to send them, by the way?
Well, it's just a nice liqueur. It's made with some wine and cinnamon and spices. Some people even say it has an aphrodisiac aspect. Oh, no. Oh, God, I feel destroyed. What is it? Terrible. There's no solution. Oh, no.
What are you talking about?
It's all for nothing. I've walled myself up in the oven and I can't get out of it.
Come on, talk to me. Tell me what it is. Get your hands away from your face. Talk.
Don't you see? I told Lord Lissa that you and Ciro and Gregorio and I will go looking for the boy to put into the bed with his wife.
Yes.
What do you mean, yes? Don't you see, if I'm looking for you, I'm with you looking for the boy, I won't be with you to put the boy in the bed. And if I'm not with you, he's bound to figure out the whole scheme.
Yes, that's true. Isn't there a solution to this problem?
Well, I really don't think that there is.
There certainly must be.
Well, what is it then?
I'd just like to think it over briefly.
Well, thanks. Thanks a lot. I guess that makes it pretty clear I'm really destroyed now if you have to think.
I've thought of a solution.
What is it?
The friar. He helped us so far, I'll just ask him to help us again.
How can he help?
We're all going to be in disguise, right? Well, I'll just have him disguise himself, too. You can imitate your voice, your appearance, your style of dress. I mean, I'll tell the professor it's you, and he'll believe it.
Yes, I like that. But what'll I do?
Oh, yes, you. You just put on some raggedy short cloak and just come out from that corner over there by your house, with a lute in your hand, singing a little song.
With an uncovered face?
Yes, because if you wear a mask, then you really wouldn't be suspicious, huh?
But he'll recognize me! No, he won't!
Because, I want you to distort your face. That's good. Just kind of open your mouth and gnash your teeth and keep one eye closed. Here, you try it.
Oh, like this?
No, not really.
Oh, like this?
Even more.
This!
Ha! Yes, that's good. Remember that. I also can put your fake nose in all the numbers you wear.
Well, then what will happen next?
Well, when you come around the corner with your ute, we'll be waiting for you. We'll snatch the loot away from you, seize you up roughly, turn you around a couple of times, you won't know where you are or what's happening. Then we'll take you to the house, put you in the bed, and the rest you'll have to do for yourself.
Well, don't worry about the rest, my friend. All you have to do is get me into the house.
Quite right, and tonight I'll get you into it, but if you want to be able to return, my friend, well, you'll have to arrange that for yourself. I can't help you there.
But what do you mean?
I mean that from now on, the girl herself must become your accomplice. You must win her over to you within the course of this night. Come on, before you leave her, you have to tell her who you are. You have to explain the trick to her, and convey to her the deep, enduring passion that you feel. And explain that without any danger or disgrace, she can become your lover. Though if she chooses to become your enemy, the disgrace could be very great indeed, no? It's impossible that she won't be completely won over by you, and impossible that she won't this night to be the only such night.
Do you really believe this?
Yes, I'm sure of it. But let's not lose any more time. It's already past 8. Come on, call Ciro and send the potion the Lord needs. I'll find Brother Timothy, put him in disguise, and we'll come back here and meet the professor and accomplish all that's left to be accomplished.
All right. Go ahead.
I'm going.
Ciro! Master! Ciro, I want you to get the silver goblet in my bedroom closet, cover it with a cloth, and bring it here. Be careful you don't spill any of the contents along the way.
Oh, right.
This man has been with me for 10 long years and has always served me faithfully. You know, I haven't told you what's going on, but I bet he's guessed it. He's very shrewd. He has kind of a criminal mind, I might almost say. And I can see him adjusting to the present circumstances very happily. All right, hurry and take this to Lord Nisi and tell him that this is the medicine his wife must take after supper.
All right.
If something happens to wreck these prayers, tonight will be the last night of my life. I'll throw myself into the Arno. I'll hang myself. I'll hurl myself out of one of those great big windows up there. I'll stab myself to death in a very doorway.
Who's with you, sir?
A very great man.
Is he lame or is he just pretending?
Hey, be quiet! Don't you know people can hear you?
What a face! You can read a litany of vice in that face, all right.
I said be quiet! You know I'm getting sick of you, little man. I really mean it. Now where's Captain Malcolm?
I'm here. Good to see you, fellows.
Look, get a grip on this, sir, okay? I think it's got a little whack. We're starting to say the most reckless things, and we don't want that.
Now, Joe, you listen here. You listen to me. You do what he tells you. I get it. And you think what you see, feel, and hear to yourself. If you value my money, my honor, and my life, and your own welfare, my friend.
Yes, master.
Oh, did you see the professor?
Yes, master.
What did he say?
He said, now everything's in order.
Is this Callimaco?
Oh, yes, I am father and actress, sir.
And I'm ready to do for you that which I wouldn't formerly have done for any man in the world.
Your efforts will not be rewarded.
Your love alone is sufficient recompense.
Now let's leave off these formalities, okay? Cyril and I have to go get into our disguises, and you, Captain Malcolm, must come along too. We'll be back in 2 moments.
I'll be waiting right here. You know those people who always say, bad company leads men to the gallows? Well, you know they're right. Sometimes a man is destroyed not through being too selfish or too scheming, but actually through being too accommodating, too eager to help others. God knows I never thought of hurting anyone in my life. I just stayed in my cell, came out to recite the appropriate prayers, occasionally entertained pious men. And then suddenly, today, this demonic man, this Satan Ligurio, came into my life, made me dip my finger into an error, a crime, until my arm was submerged up to the shoulder, and now my entire body is fouled, and I'm totally immersed, and don't know still what waits for me next. And here comes Ligurio and that sinful valet. I'm glad to see you back.
Well, you think you look well.
Oh, yes. Really good.
Ha! The professor's coming now. Oh, come on. Let's listen. I'll bet he's going to tell us all about the agonies he suffered from his wife.
She's peculiar. She's crazy, this infected behavior, these whims. I mean it. Sending her maids to the mother's house and the servants to the villa. It's all right, that's fine, but did she have to subject us to such a scene before getting into bed? Those hysterical displays, nausea, dizziness. I can't. Oh, help me. Please, right now, help me. And if a mother had subjected her to the most pious and dangerous incantations, she never would have gotten in between those sheets. I hope she developed some really terrible illness. really squeamish about sex. That's just fine, but not too squeamish because you're driven us inside your little Mandrake, eh? Well, I'm nice in disguise. Who would know me? I feel large, strong, more agile, more active. And there's the one in the city who wouldn't beg me fucking free.
Good evening, my lord. Oh, don't be frightened, oh yes.
Oh, so you're all here, huh? Well, if I hadn't just seen that it was you, I'd have run you straight through with this big irregular of mine. So, you're Ligurio, and you're Ciro, and the other fellow there. Oh, you must be the doctor.
That's right, my lord.
Oh, well, it's all very well complicated, really, it is.
Yes, indeed. And look here, I even made this one put 2 nuts in his mouth so he can't be known by his speech.
Oh, really? Really? You fool! What? Well, why didn't you tell me about this earlier? I could have put nuts in my own mouth as well. You know it's important not to be known by one's speech.
I'm terribly, terribly sorry. Here, put this in your mouth.
Well, what's that?
Oh, it's just wax.
Well, give it here. Shit. Piss.
Oh, I'm really terribly, terribly sorry. I must have given you the wrong one there without looking. I'm really terribly sorry.
Shit. Piss. Oh, what was that?
Well, that must have been bitter aloes. I mean, you know, that laxative. I'm really terribly sorry.
Well, go to hell. Piss. Now, Doctor, you're not saying anything.
I'm just soaking, good sir, as Ligurio has annoyed me.
Well, you disguise your voice very well.
Come along now. Let's set up our ambush right here in this corner. Oh, wait! I think I hear a loot.
Oh, good Lord. Someone's coming around that corner. What should we do?
Let's send ahead a scout to find out who it is. You go ahead, Cyril. You know what to do.
Oh, I know you. We can't afford to make a mistake. Oh, some dying old man, an invalid. Oh, no. We can't play this game tomorrow night again.
Don't worry, Miss Cyril's a very good man.
He's just perfect, sir. At 25 years old, he's wandering around in a shabby little cloak, playing a lute.
Well, he sounds just right, if you're telling the truth. But be careful. It's on your head if we grab this fellow.
Well, he's just as I described him, sir.
Well, all right, then. Doctor, you stand here. You look the most powerful. Oh, Lord, here it comes. We can easily handle the whole thing ourselves.
Now they're all inside, and now I'll go home too. You know it's a principle of drama that when the characters sleep in a play, an intermission is required, but we're not having an intermission now, because during this night no one here will sleep. I will say my office. Ligurio and Sirio will have supper because they haven't eaten today. And Lord Niccolo will wander about his house from room to room, make sure that everything is well dusted and clean and all is going well. And Lucrezia and Callimaco will sleep idle. At least I know this, that if I were he, And you were she. Well, he wouldn't sleep.